So President Trump inexplicably attacked the head of a union for outsourcing jobs. Now, this will come as a surprise to none of you because you're educated, but it is not the fault of the union boss that jobs are outsourced. In fact, quite the opposite in this situation. So first, let me show you his tweet. He says, Democrat UAW local 1112 President David Green. How do they say that? 1112 President David Green ought to get his act together and produce GM. GM let our country down, but other much better car companies are coming into the U.S. in droves. I want action on Lordstown fast. Stop complaining and get the job done. 3.8% unemployment. So I love how he's weaving back and forth between economy's great, shit, why are all these jobs going overseas? Economy's great, shit, all these jobs are going overseas. So that shows you how unserious Donald Trump is and how silly he is. He can't hold a coherent thought in his head at one time. But this guy who he's specifically going after, he was mentioned on Fox News, or he was on Fox News for an interview, and that's why Trump was going after him. But he's blaming him for outsourcing. The craziest thing is this guy has been spending all day and all night since those jobs were announced that they were going to be outsourced trying to fight that and trying to stop that. This dude wrote 2 letters to President Trump at different times, spanning over an extended period of time, where he was saying, oh my God, we need your help. Please put pressure on management. Management wants to outsource these jobs. I can't believe what they're doing here. We're desperate. We'll do anything. This guy has been working in a bipartisan way, asking Republicans for help, asking Democrats for help, working, trying to rally the troops and workers and doing everything he possibly can in order to make it so that they don't outsource the jobs, even to the point of doing concessions. The workers are doing massive concessions where they're saying, don't send the jobs. We'll take a pay cut. We'll take a benefit cut, whatever it may be. So this guy has been working nonstop to do the right thing. Nonstop. And Trump attacked him for outsourcing. It's management, you fucking idiot. God, he's so stupid. And now Trump also, he goes out on Twitter later and he says something about management as well, obviously trying to cover his tracks because people were like, why are you going after the union guy who's been trying to keep the jobs there and doing everything he can? How fucking stupid are you? That's literally blaming workers for their own jobs being outsourced. That's what Trump just did. So, what he doesn't want you to know, and what he never brought up, is the fact that, you know who incentivized outsourcing? Donald fucking Trump. That's not my opinion. Tax experts have spoken about this at length. Donald Trump, in his tax bill, he literally incentivized outsourcing with how they structured who gets a tax break, who doesn't. So take a look at this. This is Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown talking to a tax expert. And they warned about this when the bill was being passed. Take a look.
So under the Senate bill, what the statutory U.S. tax rate would be for a U.S. corporation that hires American workers. Again, what is the statutory tax rate for a U.S. company that hires American workers to manufacture products in Akron and sell them around the world? What is their statutory rate?
It's 20%. There's the loss of the 199 manufacturing deduction, so there's just it's a 20% top corporate rate.
Under this bill. Now, what would the statutory U.S. tax rate be for a U.S. multinational that instead of manufacturers in the U.S. decides to incorporate in a tax haven like Ireland or even in a lower rate tax haven and starts manufacturing let me stick to that. So they incorporate in a tax haven like Ireland, they start manufacturing in a lower or no tax jurisdiction area.
My understanding under the chairman's mark is there would be no U.S. tax on that earnings and profits, assuming that there are only routine returns that are associated with that manufacturing.
So there is, in fact, a tax incentive in this bill in manufacturing, but the tax incentive is to move jobs out of the U.S. under this bill and incentivizing. So one of the outcomes of this bill, one of the possible outcomes is that this bill incentivizes outsourcing, correct?
That is, I mean, under the situations that you've described, there seems to be an incentive under the chairman's mark for to achieve a lower tax rate by having manufacturing outside the U.S.
Told you. So understand something, man. Trump's a fraud. He's a fraud. He did all this shit on the campaign trail, I'm going to make sure your jobs stay here. We're not going to outsource your jobs. It's going to be tremendous. It's going to be unbelievable. Believe me. But manufacturing is in a terrible state, and the Lordstown plant is shutting down. There's like a dozen GM plants shutting down in North America, and they're shipping the production of I think the Chevy Blazer to Mexico. So the dude was all talk. Now, some people can respond to this and say, well, we have a low unemployment rate overall. Yeah, but it was the same trends under Obama, and I went after Obama for this too. The job creation is all low-wage jobs. So people are underemployed, and they're not making good money. And wages are stagnant. Wages, in fact, are down 1%. So this is not stuff to cheer. Unemployment is not the best indicator of the health of an economy. Wages is a much better indicator. And wages are stagnant. In some cases, wages are down. And specifically with manufacturing jobs, which Trump made a point that he would be fighting on that front, the opposite has happened. So, for example, did you know that under Trump, 93,000 jobs have been outsourced? He ran as the anti-outsourcing guy. Obama, there was 87,000 jobs outsourced in his last year in office. Trump was worse than that. Now, he could fix this, and he could do it very quickly. So one of the things he could do is what's called a Buy American executive order. Now, the way that works is for the federal government, there's this rule on the books that says you have to buy American. So that's why you see government cars are usually Chevys. It's because they're forced to buy American. The U.S. government is forced to buy American-made products. However, there's a giant loophole in that. Buy American is now interpreted to mean not just American, but, our top allies too. So in other words, if there's some manufacturing for some shit in Israel, the U.S. government can buy stuff that was manufactured in Israel, and they say, oh, no, this was American, because they're our top allies. So technically they're American, even though that's literally not the case. So all Trump had to do is sign an executive order that says, no, Buy American actually means buy American, made in America. And then that massively would help manufacturing in America, because the federal government is very large and powerful, and there's a lot of purchases that they have to make. And if everything they're buying is made in America, that would be amazing for American manufacturing. He did not sign that executive order. In fact, the only thing he did was said it was all symbolism. Oh, we're going to do a Buy America week, where they just say, like, oh, you should buy American this week, people. That's insanity. The other thing is, what was Carrier, the air conditioning company, and they mix other stuff too, but he did the whole thing when he first got in office. Oh my God, I'm going to save the Carrier jobs. Now, in reality, what he did is massive corporate welfare to them. Gave them a tremendous amount of taxpayer money for them to keep the jobs here. And then a year later, when nobody was looking, they outsourced the jobs anyway. So we got hosed in two ways. Taxpayers got robbed, and then they outsourced the jobs anyway. And Trump never said anything the second time that they actually sent the jobs overseas. And all those workers were like, I feel like Trump fucking duped us. He's a fraudster. Exactly, he's a fucking fraudster, which is why his tax bill incentivizes outsourcing as he rails against a worker, a union boss, in order to blame him for the outsourcing. The guy's a joke, man. And the guy's a fucking liar and a con artist, and now you know the details of it.